Good morning. Today is the 25th of July 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading levels and plans for today. As always, before we start, let's take a look to see what could be moving the market today. 8:30 we had big news drop, GDP, and we saw not much movement really, a little bit of a green candle. Other news today, not much going on really. We've got PCE tomorrow as well, so that's it really for news for today. There's nothing that could really move the market after this. Right, so on my screen is the ES and I'm currently looking at the 1 hour time frame. Yesterday we had a big sell-off day and that was a big drop down, and we came into a couple of levels what we were watching, in fact any bounces. My first bounce yesterday, where was it? Here. That was my first bounce there, and you can see it just went straight through that level, so I lost out on that trade. I did, however, have two levels, if you recall. The first level was the break and retest of that area short, and that's exactly what I took. And I got out, I think I got 3R, and I was aiming for, I had quite a wide stop, and so my wide stop was about there like that, and so I was looking for 3R, which I got, and then I was looking for 5R, which eventually got there, but it came back and ticked my 3R position, so I got out of 3R. So decent day trading. I did try a little bounce around here. I was a little bit early, just before the market closed, and I got a little tiny bit back there, so not a massive amount. It was literally one contract of ES. And that was over trading, and I basically just got out when it was up here, and then I was going to leave it for a potential bounce back up to here, and I'm glad I got out when I did because it sold off again. Today's levels, really only a couple levels I'm watching. I'm looking for pre-market low. If we lose that level, I'm looking for the break and retest short, and I quite like the rejection off of the pre-market high area, and I'll zoom out and I'll show you why. We've got this area of here of confidence. We've got bottoms of pivots, and we've got bottoms of these pivots here. So there's a reason I like this area. So this area I'm looking for a rejection, and that will probably be between 54.91 and 55, basically 5500 rejection. That's the area I'm watching for. So let's just put the 5500 level in, and then we know it's a zone. Let's go with those two, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in a area of demand, which will be that area there. So that's the area I'll be watching for rejection, around 5500 all the way up to 5504, that area. And then obviously I look for the rejection below pre-market low, this area here. Bounce wise, it's really hard to take a break and retest long pre-market high with this area of supply just above, and we've got the point of control up here. But if we get over yesterday's high, I may consider a pullback into yesterday's high for a long, and that's it. And if we sell off, we've got this level here as well. We can watch 5400 for potential bounce, psychological numbers. That's an area to watch as well, 5400. Let's look at SPX for a second. Yeah, 5400 is on watch, the top of this gap, and then we've got the gap fill as well. So we've got two levels we can watch for a bounce: 5400, 5404. And then 53.77, so that's the area I'm watching for longs, and I'll be taking ES longs at the levels we just discussed. So let's go back to ES. And technically we can watch for a double bottom at the pre-market low as well. So either watch for a double bottom or watch for the break and retest short. And that's it, but double bottom only if SPX is also coming into that gap area we just talked about, so coming into 5400, and then we're watching for the bounce. And then rejections on ES, it's just the area we're watching. This area 5505, 5510, that area, and you remember that area from yesterday, that's an area I had on watch for potential bounce as well. I cleaned up my levels earlier, but I just put it back in again. I'm looking at SPY next. So SPY, I quite like the rejection. We've broken this level, this area. We've got a big area of confidence. The point of control is just above as well. So I quite like the rejection here, 542.50 area into there for the rejection. And then again we can watch for double bottom down at 539 area. That's higher risk because it's going against the current trend. And we've got this daily level 548.50. We can watch that for the rejection, and then maybe potentially we could watch for this potential pattern we're putting in. So let's keep an eye on yesterday's high area down to 546, 547 to 548.50 for the rejection. And that's it basically, the zone, and we can watch for the bounce. The best bounce area is probably here. Let's get rid of that one. Oh, keep the daily one in, that one there. So that's the best bounce area, 532 for the bounce. It's tops of candles and bottoms of candles. Get rid of that as well, we don't need that anymore. Okay, back to SPX then, just to recap the levels. So we've got 5400 for the bounce, and then the gap fill for the bounce. And then for the rejection, probably just below this area, 554.50 for the rejection, and then we can watch 54.95 for the rejection as well off that pivot. And SPX, we are now below the 200 moving average. We can see we came in, we tested it, bounced, and then we just broke through it, came back up, retested it and sold off. You see the retest just there, not quite there, but so we're looking bearish on SPX, but let's look at the daily. Here's a good reason for a bounce as well, right on the 50 moving average. But look, previously 50, even though we held it back in May, we broke through it early May as well. We broke through it back in November, even though we held it. Sorry, I meant the 50. We broke through it there. We broke through it. So you know, it's prone, doesn't hold that often. It's the 200 we're watching for. That's our next area, and that's about 5,000. Way off that at the moment, but we can watch 5,000 for the bounce. That's the area to watch. ES on the daily. I'm just interested to look at volume as well. So we have decline in volume. Where's that? That is as the price is coming down. Bit of an increase in volume. Look at that big wide range candle, wide range volume bar. We're now below the 50. This is like institution support. We're now below the 50. Putting in this pattern, and I'm just seeing whether we've got our next bounce point will be here if we do continue down. Let's put that in as a daily. So that's potentially our next bounce point if we continue down. Reason I like that, we've got a bit of volume coming in. So we've got volume, we've got a pivot there, loads of tops of candles there, a break and retest of that area there. So we haven't yet been down to retest that area. And what's that? 5,400 as well. So we can watch that area for a bounce, psychological number as well. And what does that look like on the hourly? And that's the hourly. So yeah, same area really. That's the next target down if we do break down. Okay, let's look at NQ next. Ooh, I do quite like the rejection up in this region. 19,640 down to 19,800, this region here. And I do quite like the rejection here as well. Let's just draw that level in. Do it as an hourly level. So pre-market high rejection, and the reason for that is because we've got area confluence, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, and so if we get up here we can watch for the rejection. If we hold it and we break above it and come back and retest, we can potentially watch for the break and retest. So we've got there's not much volume here, and we've got a big gap above, or big void above. And if you go back further, there's not much, there's not hardly any volume. So I do quite like the break and retest of pre-market high long with a target of yesterday's high down to day before high. And that's it really. Let's look at QQQ. QQQ, still like the rejection there, 465.35. Come into this region for the rejection. Again, lack of volume above, and we could look for the break and retest of that level 465.35 into yesterday's high into this region, and this is a good rejection area as well. We've got volume coming into the left on the volume profile. If we do push through, we've got point of control up here as well at 480. So 480 is a good area for rejection as well. So I'll keep these levels in. I'll get rid of that one. And yeah, I quite like where the point of control is. That's this region, that area, and that area for the rejection. And I think that's it. Next area we can watch for the bounce won't be until we get down into this region, but we're quite far away. I say we're quite far away from there. I was quite far away from this area yesterday, and we made it down. But we can watch 445 basically for the bounce area, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Next up is crude oil. We've lost this channel now. We broke through, perfect break and retest. We talked about that. Watch for the retest. So hopefully somebody took that, and now we're coming in. We're right in this bounce area, this region here. Lots of volume as well to the left. In the volume profile, we came in, bounced once, came in, lost that level, but we bounced in the pre-market. The only long I can see is if we get above yesterday's high, but then even if we do get above yesterday's high, we've got a little bit of resistance above, so it's hard to go long. You know, the only long I like was a break and retest out of this area for the bear flag and bull flag even. I think we can watch this area again for double bottom. We could be looking at head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. That could be the shoulder, this could be the head, and potentially another shoulder there. So keep an eye on that for a bounce down there. And that's it. There's not really any decent levels yet. Looking at gold. Look at that. Stands out. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline is roughly that area. So if we pull back into that area, 2400 psychological and round number as well, I'm looking for a rejection. So I'm watching for it to pull back up into that area. So let's just put an alert in. Oh, I don't know why it says that. I think I'll come in. I've got logarithmic. I'm not sure why. Regular. Hope that hasn't. Okay, so I've got my alert in just below 2400 for the rejection, and that'll be the break and retest of this head and shoulders pattern. Bounce wise, oh, I feel extra tired today. Bounce wise, this area confidence, although there's not much volume now. We've got a bounce there, we've got bounces here, so we can watch this area for a bounce. You could also watch 2336 as well as 2300. So 2300 is a psychological number like the 2400 level above. These are key areas, and we've got this 2336 as well. Okay, RTY, still looking pretty bullish. What I do quite like is that it's putting in this pattern and we are now just in between. So we'll see what happens. It's either going to go one of two ways. We're going to break out, so watch for the break and retest long, or we're going to break down. But with the trend, a breakout is probably more likely. So I'll tell you what, let's just draw this in so we can see it, how it plays out over the next few days. Got that trend there. I'll just join these two pivots together. It's only a rough area, just gives us a general idea. And so what we're basically watching for is it to play this area and then make a decision, either break out or break down. And that's our levels for this one for today. Gets above yesterday high, we can look for the long. Gets below pre-market low, we can look for the short with a bounce area at this region. Also make a note of these fib levels which are still in play. So the fibs is this big move up. We've got this, don't really watch the 382, but the 618 is down here if we do lose that area, but the 50% seem to be holding. I'll keep that in place and we'll see where we are. So basically they're the levels watching. Break below 2200, break above 2260, that's a break and retest. YM, let's get rid of these because they're not valid anymore. We're still holding this trend below. I did take a trade on this a couple of days ago for the breakout and the pullback into that region for the long, but it didn't work. It came back in, retested that. It's still a key area because even though it didn't hold it, it came back in, retested and sold off. You could say it's a little mini head and shoulders pattern. So if we come back up into this region, I quite like the rejection down and I quite like the bounce down there as well. So we've got two levels to watch. The rejection from 40,600 and then the bounce at 39,600, that area there. We've got the point of control in that region as well. Big area, heavy area, confluence as well. So that's my bounce area, I like it there. And that's the only level I'm really watching. I've got a higher risk bounce area here. It wasn't high risk yesterday, but only because those two pivots. It's not hit my alert yet. 40,000. In fact, I like 40,000 because of the psychological number. It's a round number. So we can watch this area as well for a bounce. Or a break and retest below it as well. Let's look at Bitcoin. How are we doing today? Let's zoom out. Let's look at the daily. So still holding this channel, as you can see. We've been both extremes. So a bit of a bear flag. We're kind of holding between these areas, and we're just about there at the moment. You can see where I took profit and where I put some ads in. I'm looking to add when we get back down to that region again. I added up here a couple of days ago only because I thought it's looking quite bullish, looking quite strong. It's above all the moving averages as well, and I just basically wanted to catch the breakout, continue. And I think I may have mentioned this a few days ago, if you zoom out or look at the weekly, you can see a cup and handle pattern, which is a bullish pattern. So this is a cup and this is the handle, and so just waiting for the breakout of this area here. And while I'm in this range, while it's ranging, I'm going to be adding at the lows. Levels for today, I don't trade it day trade. I just only look for longs, look for swings. You can see this is a key area here. We're holding it, so let's just draw that in. I quite like this level. Okay, zooming back even further, is it even more significant? We've got a pivot, two pivots there, a rejected, breakthrough, retested, retested, and kind of retested, not quite there yet. So we can watch for a bounce in this region, 63,500, 63,000. And if we lose that area, then the next area to watch for a bounce is probably not to get down into this region. And that's at 5,900 to 60,000. Looking for a long, I think a break and retest over this area, yesterday's high. So if we get over here, break and retest, we can look for the long, and we've got a target of 71 from a few days back, or back in June I think. And that's it really. Let's quickly look at order flow. Market opens in 8 minutes. Flicking over to my order flow screen. So just before I do that, look at key level, see where we are now. Our key level is this area here, 54, 51, 54, 50 for bounce or a break and retest low short. Bear that in mind when we go over.